Here's a quick review of the Casemate Naked Tough Case for the HTC One M8. Hey everybody, Daniel Rubino here, Windows Phone Central. We're just going to give you a quick review here of the Casemate Naked Tough Case for the HTC One M8. And it goes for the Android version, of course, or the Windows Phone version. Now, this case goes for about 27 bucks, which is on the high end. And there's that big question, should you cover the HTC One? The reason I say that because it's actually such a beautiful device. Smooth brushed metal. Great curves to it. I mean, it's just something you actually don't want to cover until you pull it out of your pocket and it hits the ground. This metal will chip. You can actually find an article on our site written by Kevin Michaluk sharing his experience with his Android version, how he dropped it 17 times, and you can see what that looks like. So the Casemate here is one option. Now, as far as case levels go, I would say this one's like a medium level. So this isn't obviously an OtterBox, but it's also not those simple shells, which actually I usually prefer, that you just put on the device. Instead, you get this dual protection system. You get a bumper that goes around, silicone, and then it's a hard, clear shell on the back. And so I actually feel pretty comfortable with this if I were to drop it onto pavement, that this would, definitely protect my phone, at least from an initial drop. Getting the case on, yeah, it's a little tricky. There it goes. Those shell cases, which are pretty cheap, are good, but they're usually good for like one time, right? If that hits the ground, it's going to crack, which is fine. It hopefully protects your phone, but then you're going to throw it out. This is the kind of case where obviously you could drop it a few times and it won't crack. So it feels really good. It's very smooth, and so pulling it in and out of your pocket should be a breeze. It doesn't add too much girth to it, obviously. I mean, it does add some, but you can see it's pretty thin, and it's not really, you can see sort of thickness right there at the camera. It doesn't really add too much bulk to it, and with that protection system around the edges, when you drop it, it'll be pretty good. Now, one thing I'm not crazy about are the buttons. So this does use the faux buttons to simulate, the real button presses, so they act as intermediaries. They're much harder to detect than the device itself. In other words, I don't really feel anything raised over here. I feel little notches where you can kind of see in the plastic. And now I know I can do my volume stuff. But basically, it's not as tactile, which I suppose may be good too, as you won't accidentally hit it. But it does take a little extra effort, I feel like, to press the power button. Of course, the HTC One can turn on by a double tap, so you do have that option as well. But just be aware of that. If you're really sensitive to how your buttons feel, this does have the covers that go over them, and it does, I think, take away a little bit from the feel from it. It's not my favorite thing. Other than that, though, you got your nice cutout for the cameras, obviously, and then on the bottom, your micro USB and headphone jack. But there you go. It's 27 bucks, a little bit expensive, but if you really want to protect your phone, if you have kids and you're worried about pulling this out of your pocket, this is probably one of the best medium grade cases you can go for. That, of course, doesn't cover the display itself. But there you go. Head to Windows Phone Central or to store WP Central for more information and tell us what you think. Take care, everybody.